So as I was working out this morning, my son came in asking if, he can work out with me. And I was like, cool, let me teach you some things before we get to a point where you start really working out. So I gave him two dumbbells on the incline, and I started to teach him how to benefit from the exercise. And I was telling him what the exercise is for and all this other stuff. And I'm not going to get into all the details of what happened because it's irrelevant. But I wanted to talk to you about mind muscle connection, because that's what I was teaching him. A lot of people go into the gym and they just load the bar up with a whole shit ton of weight, and then they think they're doing something because they're able to move it. Well, your body is a wonderful, wonderful, well-oiled machine. And where you're lacking in one area, you have another muscle group or fiber or tendon or something to pretty much pick up the slack. So when you overload the bar for whatever muscle that you're trying to work on, if that starts to give out, you have these supporting muscles like your triceps, your delts, to come in to rescue you from catastrophic events. So when you're loading up the bar, you're basically wasting your time when it comes down to that muscle. You have a lot of individuals with these real small chests, and they walk around like this, but their chests are really small, and they have these huge frontal delts. And the reason why is because they're delt dependent. So when they go and they sit on the bench, they're pushing, yeah, but it's mostly their deltoid, their frontal delt, that's doing all the work. And that's good if that's what you want to focus on. But it's bad if you're trying to do an exercise meant for your chest. So teaching him mind-muscle connection is more important than teaching him an egotistical lift, which is what people go in there to do. They really are there to show off, to say, hey, I can do this, blah, 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 blah. When nobody's really giving a flying fuck about you. Nobody's paying attention to you. Nobody's thinking about you. Everybody in there has a vanity higher and bigger than your importance. So you have to understand, when they're in there, they're there to show off what they can do. They're not thinking about you. All right. So yeah, there's egos that get involved. I mean, mine has gotten involved many times in my life. So I'm not going to sit here and, debate whether it's a good or bad thing, because it's irrelevant. But the point is an ego lift. I'm not going in there to show off. I'm going in there to build some muscle. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm trying to do. So the best advice that I have for you for anything you're trying to do is you start off light. Light enough where you can get around 20 to 25 reps, okay? The reason why I say this is because in that 25 reps, you are learning your muscle. You're learning what position it needs to get it to contract. If you're going with a slow, steady tempo and you're doing with lightweight, you're almost forced to use that muscle to its maximum potential, because there's no need for any other muscles to get involved, because it's light enough for your muscle to do the work. So I started off with dumbbells, not barbells, dumbbells. Because a barbell restricts you. You can't move your arms, right? You can't move your hands. You're stuck here. So even though you're using your chest, you can't get that full contraction because you can't do that, right? So barbells don't allow you to do that, but a dumbbell does, right? And because it's isolated, each arm is doing its own weight, you can literally get that full contraction, that full stretch, and really, really get in there. So, in conclusion, go lighter, right? Get that mind-muscle connection down pat before you start going heavy. Because what's going to happen is this. If you learn how to do it the proper way in the beginning, it's going to be hard to break that habit. So even when you are struggling and you're on your last rep and you try to power this thing out, you will be hesitant to use triceps. You'll be hesitant to bow in your back, because that's what a lot of people do to try to get that last rep out. They bow their back in, right? So now they're not really using their chest. They're using their freaking delts and their triceps to get the damn weight off of them. This is the reason why when you go heavy, you should have a spotter. But anyway, so they bow their back. They don't keep their chest out, because they're so used to using all those stabilizing muscles to help move the weight. And that's not what you're trying to do. If you can, I'll put it like this. If you can do 315 5 times with perfect form, then you should be bumping up to a heavier weight. If you can do 315 5 times, excuse me, not 5 times, 10 times, I'm sorry. 10 times, not 5 times. If you can do 315 10 times with perfect form, that's when you need to bump up to the next weight. If you can't do that, then you're not ready for 315. You're just not. You got this is not ego. This is about getting the muscle to do the work. That's how you get that massive chest. All right? It's about volume, not heaviness. Unless you're trying to do a strongman, and even they go volume because they got to build up to that weight. So make sure you go and you start light enough where you can get at least 15 to 20 reps out. 25 ideal, but if you can do 15 to 25 reps, that's decent. That's going to give you that mind-muscle connection right there. So when you go to hit the bench or to do the declines or the inclines, you are already aware, okay, this is the muscle I want to fire. So what do I got to do? Where do I have to be, to get that muscle to do the work? What position I have to be in? That's why you have to go lighter and you slow down the tempo. If you got too much freaking momentum, you ain't doing shit, man. This ain't nothing. You know what I mean? Like this is where you want to be. All right? That right there. All right. Hope that helps you guys. Have a good one.